So welcome to Organic Tales, the podcast where we talk about organ failure, organ donation, and transplantation. Today we're talking about organ donation, the gift of life, with two experts in the field, two friends. My name is Joao Bako, a kidney transplant recipient, and I'll ask them to introduce themselves, starting with Jomo.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Jomo, kidney donor, and I donated 16 years ago.
Wow.
It has been quite a journey. Yes, Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Dr. Soki?
Hi, I am recurring guest, Dr. Soki, consultant nephrologist and transplant physician.
Yeah. It's really great to have you guys. Thank you for joining this podcast, or being guests on this podcast.
Thank you for having us.
So, Dr. Soki, we know that organ donation saves lives and is considered the gift of life. For our audience, perhaps you can explain what is organ donation?
So, it's exactly that. It is, sometimes we do get our patients who get the failure of a certain organ, and it's not just kidneys. I'm a kidney specialist, but we do have, you can have failure of any major organ in the body, your heart, your kidneys, your liver, your pancreas, your spleen, your lungs. So, organ donation is the replacement of a failed organ with a replacement, basically. And in this country, we do living-related kidney donation and transplantation. And so an organ donor would be somebody who gives one kidney and remains with one kidney in order to help somebody else whose kidneys have failed. Yes. So there are different types of organ donation, definitely. As you can hear, you wouldn't be able to give your heart if you were a living donor. So some organs are received from people who have passed away. So there are certain countries around the world, a lot actually, that practice transplantation where the organs are retrieved from somebody who has passed away. And in that way, a deceased organ donor, who amazing people, of course, a deceased organ donor can save the lives of 8 people. Because from one deceased organ donor, we get a heart, we get 2 kidneys, we get a liver, we get a pancreas, we get lungs, we can even get skin, bones, and cornea.
Yeah.
So one person who has passed away, unfortunately, but can save the lives of 8 people, or 9 or 10, depending on how we look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So, we have a living donor, Jomo, and can you share your journey and what led you to decide to donate your kidney?
Like I said before, it has been quite a journey. And this actually started, my sister had a condition, lupus, that caused kidney failure. And I was around to discover it in 2000 the cause of the kidney failure. But before that, lupus was quite new, so the doctors were not familiar with that. And I was supposed to donate then. I was still in school. But by that time, there was technology that had been developed in India that even though I was the highest match, that you could use a low match. And my father ended up donating. And unfortunately, it didn't go well with that. And our firstborn sister, I think around 2 years later, she donated a second kidney. And unfortunately, that also didn't go well. My sis had spinal tuberculosis, so it ended up also affecting the kidney. And I ended up now being the final donor in 2008.
Family of heroes.
Yeah.
Very supportive.
Thank
Yes, yes. So throughout we are like, she's our sister, and if you're able to live with one kidney, then why not donate to her?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the motivation.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Soki, maybe you can talk about, okay, what is lupus? I know.
So lupus is an autoimmune condition. What does that mean? Auto is self, and
Yeah.
immune is your defense system.
Okay.
So I like describing it as a situation where there is a coup going on in the body. Your immune system
True.
turns against
Fights against,
you.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You know. So in lupus is perhaps in many ways, as well, it's highly aggressive. In what way? Because the immune system, which is your army, turns a gun on you.
Okay.
And your immune system forms specific guns, I think, as we talked about last time. But lupus forms anti-nuclear antibody. And every cell in your body has a nucleus, so it can attack anywhere in the body. And you'll find that lupus in other populations, in Caucasian populations, in Asian populations, tends to be a milder disease.
Yeah.
Tends to affect mainly maybe skin and bones and joints. But African lupus is an aggressive disease. It affects more than 50% will have renal involvement in aggressive renal disease. So in our scenario, lupus is a very major cause of kidney failure, especially affecting young women. So many times when you see, urine that has blood, that has protein in it, in any young woman, and sometimes in male patients, because we have had male patients, young male patients, this could be lupus and needs to be addressed immediately and aggressively.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. So Joma, what were your initial thoughts and feelings when you first considered donating your kidney? So
Obviously, you hear funny stories how perhaps people have gone in and not come out well, and people also ask you questions like, "What if your kidney fails in the future?" And you've already given out one.
Yeah.
But one of the things that the doctors are saying that if your kidneys are going to fail, they can't fail one.
Yeah.
In the future, it's both.
Yeah.
So you can literally live on
On
one. So, and I hadn't gone through surgery before, but yes, you watch movies and you hear the stories of other people's experiences. Yes, you might be scared and all. But I was like, this is to the benefit of somebody's life, to contribute so that they can have a better life in the future. And I was left it to God, and I was like, all shall be well.
Yeah. Okay. So Dr. Soki, what are the criteria for determining if someone is a suitable kidney donor?
So, one way or the other, kidney donation is not an easy thing. In what way? I always say that kidney donors are the only people who enter a hospital completely well. In fact, better than completely well, because for you to be a kidney donor, you sort of have to be superhumanly healthy,
Yeah.
And so these are the only people who enter hospital completely well and then come out with a scar after surgery and maybe feel a little bit less well at that point. But ideally, being a kidney donor, if well picked, should not affect your health at all, right? So what makes a good kidney donor? The first thing is that a kidney donor is somebody who is completely physically healthy. And that means we're going to check. So even as a kidney donor, if you come forward and say, I'm perfectly fine, I can be a kidney donor, we're like, great, but now we're going to check. And you remember how many tests you went through, right? So there's a whole litany of tests, and we check everything. We'll check your blood, we'll check your heart, we'll check your kidneys, we'll check your urine, we'll check your liver, we'll check your bladder, we'll check your viral markers, we'll check just about everything. And you have to pass all of those in order to be an organ donor, because we're talking about organ donation here, right? And then after that, but possibly that should have been our first thing, a kidney donor is a consenting donor. is somebody who gives the organ out of their own free will. And you cannot be coerced to give an organ, and you cannot procure an organ, right? Because what is the value of an organ, right? How much money are you going to give? And you can't put a price on that. So maybe the first thing is the organ donor is willing. The second is that they are completely physically healthy. And for many centers, you'll find that is where they have drawn the line and they're like, okay, we're fine. But we go on a little bit further and we say that the organ donor must be completely mentally healthy, because now you have donated one kidney, but that means you also need to be somebody who shows us that you're capable of taking care of your remaining organ well. And that's why when people ask those things of, how do you know in the future? Well, first we're going to check that you have no physical or physiological risks, and then we're going to check that you can take care of your remaining organ well. So mentally healthy means that we're going to do a psychosocial assessment and make sure that the donor is somebody who doesn't have any issues to do with substance abuse, doesn't have any issues to do with mental illness, because in that case, they deserve care. They are a patient, and removing one organ, even though it will not affect you physically, could affect you psychologically and cause you to have more stress, more anxiety, more depression. And whenever a donor walks into the room for us, the donor is our priority. This is a healthy person, and we must maintain their health. And that is not just physically, but mentally, socially. So one of the things I always tell donors also is, if you're married, your spouse must also come and tell us that they have accepted. You see, because we cause no problems for the donor. So we're not going to cause you problems in your home or in your marriage or anything like that. So there's a lot of things that go into a donor. And then, of course, there's now the physical things that you have to be the same blood group as the recipient, or blood group O. That is universal donor. And you have to have a certain BMI. So we will not take people who are obese as donors unless you show commitment to weight loss and you have lost the weight down to a BMI of less than 30. And any last thing, at Nairobi Hospital, we only take donors above the age of 25 years. And there's a reason for that. Number one is prediction in terms of whether they are likely to get diabetes or high blood pressure in the future. Number two is consent, where we don't feel like people below the age of 25 years are able to adequately fathom or understand the risks to do with donation and being able to take care of themselves. So we will only take donors here above the age of 25 years, and we actually prefer donors 30 years and above. So even 25, I take very reluctantly. And after having a very sober conversation about lifestyle choices and being healthy in the future, exercise, hydrating, not putting on any, a lot of weight. So that's a donor, and that's kidney donation. But all in all, actually, we get a lot of donors, and we have had donors such as yourself who have donated. Our donor advocate in our office, in our hospital, donated 20 years ago, Daisy, and she gave her mom, and she's hi Daisy. I think congratulations on her fourth baby. And I wish she could have been here today, but she's just coming back into the hospital after her leave. And she's just an amazing person, and they all are. And
very true. Amazing. Let's bust some myths, because I feel like a lot of the initial talk that Jomo was talking about, a lot of them are myths around giving an organ or giving a kidney. One of them, because my sister donated to me, was that she would not get a kidney. And you just said that Daisy, she has kids post-transplant, right?
Yes, of course. Yes.
So for women, you can have kids after you've donated, right?
So donating a kidney does not affect fertility at all. Right?
You can say that again.
And I'm going to move on. But you have to realize that the thing that affects fertility is in people who have chronic kidney disease is having the waste in the blood that has not left the system.
Okay.
But when you have one kidney, always remember that each kidney is 1.5 million filters, and we didn't need all of those filters. So we still leave you with 1.5. In essence, you have 1.5 million kidneys because each of those filters works on its own.
Okay.
So actually, I think after donating, you'll tell me your experience. I feel like donors deal with a lot of emotional stress in terms of just thinking what's going to happen to me. But let me tell you, getting donors into your clinic, like after a year post donation, I met your sis the other day.
She told me.
She told you, and I'm like, come in for your checkups. You promised me you're gonna come in for your checkups, but they feel so well that getting them back into the office is actually because they're just living their lives, right? Getting them into the office, yes. So, in terms of symptoms of kidney disease or kidney failure, they don't notice any leg swelling, nothing like that. They don't have it. And for most donors, if you were to check their kidney function between 6 months to 1 year, after they have donated a kidney, they are back to 75 to 100% kidney function on that one kidney. And you find that because of that, the blood looks exactly the same as somebody who has 2 kidneys. So fertility is exactly the same. There is no change. They should be able to go on and have 5 or more children. Yes.
We're waiting for the 5 little.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that, Dr. Soki.
Yeah.
So for Jomo, how did you prepare physically, mentally for the donation process?
Well, apart from advice from the doctors and all, I used to read a lot about donors and the percentage, the success rate and all. So you kind of enter into an ease about donating your body part and all.
Okay.
And just like you were saying on mental issues, that was one of the key things in India, because it's a form you feel on why you forced to do this. So you're doing it for money, so because I think that's also a big issue in India. Yeah, so one of the things that apart from that, when you immediately, the recovery process was quite the first 5 days is quite tough on your body, like even movement of you have to be done a lot of physio so that you get into more movement quickly.
Okay.
And one of the things you're told, if you play sports like rugby or
contact sports,
contact sports, don't go into that. I don't think there's there was what I was expecting, that it will be quite hard and a long journey, but actually, just like you have said, once you have donated, it's like you're just going to
back to normal.
Default setting of sorts. So I can say it was easy for me. Support from family and friends. Obviously, they're asking you, how you doing? Is the kidney okay? Did you do something? You have one kidney.
But comments still come.
But literally your lifestyle. Yes, you have to check on your lifestyle, what you eat, what you drink. But literally, you basically live a healthy lifestyle. Because I think the recovery process was. They told me like 6 months. But actually, by the first month, I was like, felt like running. I felt like doing
everything.
Yes. So it wasn't, for me, it was interesting in a good way. And not that I didn't have any fear after that.
Okay.
And if I might just say, I think I love kidney donors. Like, they're just amazing people, because bravery is not the absence of fear, isn't it?
Yes,
It is
true.
proceeding despite the fear. And I can tell you there is no kidney donor who is not crazy scared.
Yeah.
But they still go ahead
And do
because
it.
of the love for that person that they are donating for, or the altruism and just wanting to help. So you should see the kidney donors before we go into surgery, like blood pressure's up, like the heart rate's up. And it's just like, no, we're gonna do it. And I'm like, if you want to back out, the time is now, okay? Like, no, we're gonna do it, And it's just amazing to watch them. Actually, it's amazing to watch you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Dr. Soki, what are your thoughts on the future of organ donation and transplantation, especially in terms of technology and accessibility?
So there's this when we, and we're currently doing our national guidelines, and when we think about kidney disease, the first thing to say, of course, is that we don't want kidney disease, and we don't want people ending up in kidney failure. So one of the things that we are trying to focus on is preventing kidney disease, and second is making sure that people who have kidney disease are found early so that we can treat it before we get to kidney failure. Because remember, we have all that reserve. We have 100% kidney function, and for us to end up in kidney failure means we are found at less than 15% kidney function, usually less than 10% kidney function. So just to get that out there, those are our priorities also. But in the event that we do end up in kidney failure, then we have dialysis or transplantation. In many countries, we do have the options for dialysis where we have peritoneal dialysis, and peritoneal dialysis is done at home, which is something as a country we should start doing. We also have home hemodialysis, where people dialyze themselves at home every day or 5 times a week, And the outcomes with home hemodialysis are equivalent to transplant, because you eat today, at the end of the day, I'm just going to clean my blood and then go to bed. So it's, yes. But currently, our best option is transplantation. But transplantation is becoming increasingly difficult for us for a number of reasons. In this country, we have living organ donation, so from somebody who is living. And increasingly, our population is getting comorbidities. So a large number of people are now hypertensive, diabetic, obese. So we are not getting donors. Our family sizes are getting smaller. So you just don't have as many people who are willing to donate to you altruistically. Yeah. And then we also have, especially in the urban areas, a lot of stress, a lot of substance abuse, a lot of alcohol overuse. So we end up excluding a lot of donors, actually. Okay. So getting a donor is becoming increasingly difficult. We are currently in the process of setting up our deceased organ donation program in the country.
Thanks.
The law has been changed, as you all know, in 19, goodness gracious, how old am I? In 2017. In 2017, to allow deceased organ donation, but we do have to set up the policies and the protocols because it must be fair, it must be transparent, and at the same time it also costs a lot of money because that has to be on the government to take that up whenever we transplant. So all of these are being set up. There are new, very amazing things coming up the pipeline that we're hoping to see in a few years. One, of course, is xenotransplantation that we have all heard of. Yes. Harvesting an organ from a genetically modified pig currently, and that holds a lot of promise. But other than transplantation in itself, of course, we are hoping to reach the point where we are able to grow our own organs back. We have not yet quite got the hang of that. But there's also an implantable kidney device that's coming in, something similar to a pacemaker that we're hoping to see in about 10 years, right? Where we implant and then it works like a kidney. It's actually a machine, but it works like a kidney to clean the blood. Some people have made a dialysis backpack that you can wear as you go around. So a lot of very interesting things coming up.
Yeah.
And yes, we hope that soon we will see the end to the scourge of kidney disease. from the beginning when we don't have kidney disease anymore to the end of that where we are able to give you a replacement and have you just continue with your normal life. Yeah, and we can now retire.
Everyone lives happy, huh?
Everyone will live happily ever after, yes. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joma, what advice would you give to someone considering to become a kidney donor?
I believe in this life. It's about, you might not be able to give maybe a lot of money, but I believe in making a difference in people's life if you're able to. And for me, that was like I said in the beginning, my motivation. So if you have the opportunity, I think you should not be afraid. And I was happy that my sister really, the last kidney was quite life-changing for her.
Yeah.
And she, unfortunately, she passed on during COVID, but then she really had a full life after that, because after that, you see, like the first kidney was 2 years, then 3 years, and this was literally 16 years. I mean, 2021,
Yeah.
13 years.
Wow.
And one thing that I was praying for, even though I was like, may this be her last kidney, that she will be able to live a normal, fruitful life.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I can make a difference in somebody's life by giving a part of me and still live wholly the rest of my life, I would be good with that. So for anybody who has that opportunity to make a difference in somebody else's life, can do the same, have no fears. There's a lot of technology that has changed since then,
Yeah.
and that is very encouraging. So yeah, just help make a difference in somebody else's life.
Oh, thank you
Yes.
for that, Joma. Dr. Soki, how can communities better support organ donor recipients? Just adding on to what Jomo has kind of concluded there.
There is no transplantation without community support. And I think it is important for us to educate, but it is also important for families that have people suffering with kidney disease, because I always say that kidney disease is not a disease of one person. Kidney disease is a disease of a family. Yes, the person with kidney disease cannot handle it on their own, and it affects the entire family. And I would put it to those families to educate themselves, to educate the community, and to be champions and ambassadors, especially those who have been transplanted, to come out and talk about it openly. And there are so many myths out there. You're not going to survive, you're not going to have children, and people actually come out specifically to dissuade you when you have said that you want to be a donor, And I think education is key. And I would use this opportunity, as I do with every opportunity, to also put it to our government, put it to NHIF, that to support dialysis, but not to support transplantation, is to trap our patients on dialysis.
Yeah.
So support transplantation, because people who are transplanted go back to their lives, go back to their work, release their caregivers to go back to their work. And if you're thinking about it even economically, go back to supporting the economy, not just quality of life, And to see people getting their lives back is just a wonderful thing. So I would encourage from government for us to lobby for families to talk openly about transplantation and to do things like this where we encourage and educate the public on transplantation, I think. Yeah.
And more platforms for donors.
Yes, and actually, yes, we need for donors to meet and talk about their lives and support each other, actually. Yes, I think that would be great.
It would be great, yeah. to donors, I really wonder, do you see yourself as a hero, or it's just something you move forward and it's like, done that, next. I always talk to my sister on the same, and I'm like, do you realize the impact you've had on my life? It's immense. Huh? It's something that when us recipients see a donor, there's just so much, it's kind of like respect and a mix of gratefulness. I don't know the word. It's like a bit of both.
Yeah.
Because, as Dr. Soki said before, we don't have many options. It's dialysis or peritoneal. Like there's a lot of time and effort in those options. But when you get a kidney, it's like your life goes back to normal, quote unquote, right? And so, just seeing another donor is like, you change. I'm sure, like, she's smiling wherever she's saying, this guy changed my life, and all the people who helped out. It's really amazing. Yeah. So you don't see yourself as like, you even forget sometimes. I'm so curious.
I think they forget.
They do.
Majority of the times.
Yeah.
In fact, it's people who remind you donated.
Yeah.
So when I talk to people and they're like, they paint this picture of what you did was big, which is big anyway. But then, I've never seen myself like
I was like a hero.
I think I was motivated from the beginning, and I was like, let me help out, and that's what keeps going through my mind. But even as recently as this year, the people who hear that I donated, they're like, what? You donated a kidney?
Yeah.
They're like, it's a good experience and all. So, but I don't take it for granted that I was able to donate to somebody.
Yeah, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. Dr. Soki, do you have anything to wrap up with?
No, I think that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think many times you must have had thank you many times, but we will continue to say thank you.
I know.
Because, it's an act of real bravery.
It really
Thank you for that.
Cool. I guess that's going to wrap up this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Know that you can find out more about organ donation and transplantation. Like Jomo said, you can read more about it if it's something that's in your possible future in terms of you need to help someone else. Know that there's support here. Even follow our socials on all these platforms that we're on Transplanted to see updates on what you need to get next. Gosh, my mind. But follow our socials, more stuff to come, and thank you for watching the whole episode. See you.